on what's coming up before or while we get people to join here. And if you're watching the playback, I'll timestamp this after the fact. Just give me a couple of hours usually after to have it all done. So yeah, thank you everyone for your patience. I basically had a couple of weeks off filming guitar stuff, and it's been awesome. It was great to have a break, actually. It's sort of healthy. I think just sitting in a room all day can get to you like any job, I guess. But yeah, it was great to get some sun. I went over to Perth in Western Australia, and it was awesome. So yeah, it was great. All right, it looks like we're live. I just got the notification from my other account just to check in that it's all working. A lot of people say notifications don't work as well. So yeah, if you like what I do, click the bell, click all notifications or some or personalized, whatever it is. We should be good to go. All right, so yeah, thanks again, everybody. I hope everyone had a happy new year. We've got Phil here already. Welcome, mate. Thank you. Let's see if I can do this time. There we go. Look at that. I managed to get the comments on screen this time. So, and they're not over my head like the last one. I'm new to this little device here, but yeah, it should be working. Florence says, welcome back, big dog. Hey, thanks, man. I'm not that big anymore, unfortunately. Well, I wasn't that big anyway, but hitting the gym again. Not a New Year's resolution, just a forearms recovered, and I'm back at it. So I've had 2 sessions this year already. Very light. Changing up what I do to keep some balance. So yeah, just going lighter, more reps, and just keeping active. That's the goal. A bit more walking this year. It's been good. So I hope you're doing well, man. Thanks for joining in. I appreciate it. If anyone has any questions or comments or whatever or suggestions, let us know, as per always. All right, we've got Sandro from Switzerland. Now, interestingly enough, I can't see the emoticons on this screen, but I think that's the sunglasses one, right? Just being the nerd that I am. We've got Ian from New Zealand. Welcome, mate. I hope you're doing well. If there's any issues with the audio or whatever, just let us know. I can move the mic back. It looks like it's okay, but sometimes it can get a bit too hot sounding. So, yeah. All right, we've got Nectarios. I probably pronounced that wrong, right? Welcome back, Shane. Greetings from Greece. Currently enjoying recording neural DSP plugins. Ever tried some of those? I haven't tried that particular one, no. I have used plugins before. It was on an old computer. And I kind of think now I might get more into it. Not like it'll be the only thing that I use, but I'd like to try it again, because back when I first reviewed, I think it was a Positive Grid system. I think it was Positive Grid. Just it was a software-based thing, and I think my computer was really struggling with it back in the day. So yeah, I'd definitely love to try that again. I'll look into that coming up. Oh man, so we got. Oh, sorry. I'll just do this in order. So we got Twitexter says it's snowing here in Croatia. Hi, welcome, mate. It's 27 degrees Celsius here. Well, it was like an hour ago, and what time is it now? It's like 8:30 p.m. So it's pretty warm. It got up to 40 degrees Celsius, which I think is around 102 Fahrenheit. It's insane. So yeah, I don't envy the snow. I think it looks beautiful, but yeah, it's not for me. I'm much more partial to warm weather, like where Keith's from. He says, welcome from Florida. How you doing, mate? Thanks for joining in. Guys, thanks for all the support in 2023. If you missed my end of year live stream, thank you. I did thank everybody, but yeah, I appreciate it. You know, it'll be 10 years this year since I've been doing this full time. 10 years. So yeah, it's thank you. Thanks for all the support. It means a lot. All right, so we've got Christopher from Long Beach, California, the home of Warren G. Or he used to sing about that a lot, right? Back in the 90s. It's probably changed completely since then too. Phil says, try out, is it Scuffum amps? I'm not sure how to pronounce that. I love for recording. Okay, I love it for recording. All right, I'll give it a go. Hey, RB, how you doing? I know some people type Sean instead of Shane. I think the phone corrects it a lot. But welcome, mate. Hope you're doing well. From Tennessee, one of my favorite accents in the US. Not that you probably, people from there probably don't even notice it. But yeah, it's super cool. All right, we got Florence says, picked up a Next Tone special. Oh, the chat just moved. Picked up a Next Tone special lately. Been using it for the recording out into FL Studio. You know, I tried FL Studio years ago. I thought that was more for looping, right? I'm not too sure, but It's probably changed as well. It's been a long time since I've used it. Such an amazing sound. Add a TS9. It's great for jazz fusion. Very cool, man. Very cool. Oh, that's great. You know, it's all about what you get results out of and what's easy to use. So it sounds like a good setup. 0 degrees Fahrenheit. Wow, that's from Lefty Mike. Yeah, that's cold. I think that's like minus 12 or something. My temperature. That's crazy. So John, I just tried to post on Patreon like 4 times and it didn't work. Couldn't post. Just nothing. I even screenshotted the error here. It's driving me crazy. So, yeah. I always let the Patreon crew know I'm going live until I get this. Come on. Going live shortly. Unable to add. Yeah, great. So, I'll try it on... I'll just do it on the desktop next time. But, yeah, I hope you're doing well, man. Happy New Year. We've just started to answer your question maybe 2 minutes ago. 6 minutes ago. All right. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for joining in. I don't know. This thing doesn't tell me how many people are here or whatever. So if I missed your question, just add in the blues me and I'll see it pop up on screen. Yeah. So let's... Hey, we got another Lefty. Just bought the Surf Trem Carl Martin. Very cool. You know, I haven't tried the Carl Martin stuff. About... Oh, man, I don't know how long ago it was. Maybe 5 years ago. Someone said they were going to send them out for me to check out and never heard from them. I don't think it was Carl Martin. I think it might have been a distributor. So that's cool, though. They make great stuff. It's very possible to use Free Loops for guitar. FL Studio, is that what it stands for? Free Loops? But it's not the easiest, just what I'm used to. Well, that's it. Yeah, you get used to... It was so hard for me to move away from basically Cubase. I was using Nuendo for like 10 years. And then I went over to GarageBand because it was just native to the Mac and it was free and I didn't have to worry about updates. It just came with the computer basically. And yeah, it takes a while to get your head around a new digital audio workstation. But yeah, it's rewarding once you know how to use something. You can go, okay, I'm sort of at home here, and it's great. Can you please demo a Tone King Imperial Mark II amp? You know, I got to test one of those in where was it? It was Bradenton Music Go Around. It was in one of my Guitar Search Saturday episodes, and I've got a YouTube short, the last of the YouTube shorts for a while, which is another thing I'll be changing. I don't think I'll be doing too many more of those. I might throw one up every now and then, maybe one every few weeks or something. But yeah, I'm just going to not put time into it anymore. I don't want the shorts audience. It's just not really a thing that works for what I do. I'd rather produce better videos, basically. So I'm just going to pull them down. But there is one of those scheduled in the clean tone of it's got the clean tone of the gods. It's really good. Yeah, it's not like a produced video. It's just in the shop testing it out, but it's on the way. Oh man, so Michael, still 2 inches of snow on my street. That is brutal, mate. I do not envy that, but I'm sure it's nice and quiet. Outside, I mean, hopefully. Mitch says, hello Shane, long time no see. Happy New Year. Cold here in Hanover, Pennsylvania. 16 degrees here in Fahrenheit. Woo. Yeah, that's brutal. Okay, that's brutal. Oops, sorry. Sorry about the noise on the mic here. Yeah, that's cold. I heard a mate of mine that I know, I don't know him personally, he's just another YouTube guy. He lives in Chicago, and I've heard they've been like just riddled with snow. Like it's been minus 25 degrees Celsius, which I don't know what the conversion of that is, but it's brutal. I don't get snow where I live. It snowed once. Well, at my old place up in the hills, which was a lot higher than where I'm at now. So it gets down to 0 or 1, but it will never really get below that. So we don't, and it's flat here too. So Melbourne very rarely gets snow. I think maybe once every 20 or 30 years or something like that. But you keep warm, man. 32 watching so far. Very cool. Thank you guys. Thanks, Mitch. All right. Hey, there he is. Heavy Brett, welcome, man. Hope you're doing well. So he says, hi, Shane. Bloody hot up here in the Sunshine Coast. Yep. And it's, you know, it's a place I've got to get up to at some point this year. I think the warm weather's just, I love it. I can't get enough of it. I could live in a warm weather environment all year. I think it's fun. But that's great, man. I don't know how hot it's actually getting up there. I'm a bit out of touch with the news here, but very nice, man. It's been a couple of sort of crappy days here in terms of weather, but still way warmer than the Northern Hemisphere. All right, Matthew, welcome, mate. He's from Altona North. How you doing? You know, I haven't been really doing the band thing for a while now. I just usually go to the jams. So there's a few blues jams around Melbourne. That's pretty much it at the moment. I'm not really doing the gig thing so much. I didn't really enjoy the process of that. I've spoken about it before, where you're kind of having to do everything. You're not only liaising with the venue and the owner, you're also following things up. You got to organize the band. If someone can't play or they're double booked, you got to get someone else, and the gig suffers, all that kind of stuff. So I'm not really doing any like my own band stuff at the moment. I did a couple of gigs last year, but I'm just enjoying the blues jams. The blues jams for me is kind of easy. I can turn up, play, and enjoy myself and leave. I don't have to worry about getting the venue full, all that kind of stuff. It's just not a lot of fun. It's just not as enjoyable to do all of that extra work for a gig anymore. At least right now, anyway. I might start doing a few small gigs around Melbourne at some point, but as of right now, there's nothing booked. Anyway, welcome to the channel, Matthew. I'm about to call you Moses. That's your last name there. All right. All right, I hope the trend for this year is not to buy any new gear or I'll go broke. Mate, I tell you what, if you've got stuff sitting around you're not using, flip it. I know it's hip for all the guys to have their guitars plastered all over the wall, but, you know, it sends a message that I don't think is very healthy for a lot of people. That's one of the reasons why I don't do it. You don't need a lot of stuff to be happy playing music. You really don't, which is one of the big reasons why I'm going to try and halve my guitar collection this year. You know, I don't have heaps. I know there's some guys here that have way more than me, 5-6 times more guitars than I do. But yeah, I'm basically playing the same 5 all the time. So they're the 5 I want to hold on to. And if I can move the others on, I will. But if I can't, they'll just be sitting around for a while. I might do a donation or a giveaway or something for lefties. I don't know. We'll work it out. But yeah, there's plenty of... you don't need a lot of stuff to... Sometimes, like, if you're not focusing on something, like with the jams, for example, I can go play live and I have less incentive to want to buy more stuff. Or if you're practicing a specific thing, you're less interested in gear. At least that's where I'm at with it right now. I don't sort of... I have no... I mean, it's a different situation for me, I guess, doing what I do, but the idea is you don't really need a whole lot of stuff to be happy with your gear. So, yeah, whatever you got, I'm sure if you can get around it okay with your hands, then you're going to be... That's enough. But there's always room for a couple of extra pedals if you don't have a pedal, or, you know, little things are okay. But when you start talking about, like, large-scale stuff, it's crazy, man. It's crazy. I picked up the new Boss LR2 pedal. Have you guys checked it out yet? I haven't, but if anyone else has, feel free to comment. I've been sort of out of the loop for about 3 weeks, so coming up to the end of the year, I finished recording all my videos just before about the last week of December, and then the ones you've been seeing this month were shot like 6 months ago. I always try to have 4 or 5 emergency videos just in case I need some time off or I'm sick or whatever. So that's usually how I work. I got a few set up and I haven't tested it out. Actually, I got an email from Sky Music today saying they got some new stuff coming in. So I might start heading back down there at some point pretty soon. I got a few other projects I need to finish up, and nothing huge or anything. Just I don't want to take too much on too soon. And also I haven't been playing as much lately too. So I'm just sort of getting comfortable again with all that, but yeah, it looks great. I mean, yeah, Boss make great stuff. Can't go too far wrong. Actually, what I'm really interested in is the new Kemper pedal. You know, I've owned a Kemper and I hated it visually, and it sounded great, but I didn't like the interface. I didn't like a lot of the things about it. It was a bit of an eyesore. But this little pedal that they've got, the new, I can't remember what it's called. Someone can fill me in. I actually want to get one. I think it might be, well, I'd like to test one first and see if it's going to work for my situation. Because if I go to Jerry's Lefty Guitars again, now that he's moving to Tennessee, or if I take my recording rig somewhere, it's so handy having something like that where I'm not blowing my ears out all day with loud amplifiers. So yeah, I'm seriously considering testing one of those out and potentially buying one. That will be the gear piece that I buy this year. I don't think there'll be too much else as of right now, but I never say never, right? Because if I sell some stuff, there's more room in the cupboard. I might be like, what can I put in there? But anyway, yeah, that's how we do it. John says that could be dangerous. Sorry, I'm probably a bit behind the chat here, but yeah, it's all dangerous stuff. It's like with anything, man. It's I love camera equipment as well. It's like not just camera equipment. I love using it, which is why I do what I do. I love setting this stuff up, and it's part of the fun for me is being involved in the tech side of it as well, not just the guitar playing side, but the guitar passion's there too. So it's it's a good sort of formula for me, and I can think, oh yeah, I'm not going to get anything this year or whatever, and then I play something, I'm like, man, this is great, and it will replace that, and I'm good to go. So yeah, I'm trying to talk myself out of buying anything crazy. All right. There you go. I've seen this one before. This sounds like something John would say. The formula for the correct number of guitars is number of guitars that equals divorce minus one. Actually, that's a good one. I haven't heard that one before. I usually hear the whatever your guitar number is plus one, right? So that's a great one, man. I like that a lot. That actually might be the title of this live stream afterwards. I like it. So credit to Phil. He wins that one. It's great. All right, John says, I keep saying I'm going to sell stuff, but haven't got around to that yet. Yeah, I think it also comes down to if it's bothering you or if you've got to move and all that kind of stuff. And that's part of the reason why I want to kind of downsize, because I know this place where I'm at right now, there's no way I'll be here by the end of this year. So the less stuff I have to take, because when I moved, right, I've got a Jeep. It's pretty big. It's not like a new fancy one or anything, but it's like a wagon style one. So it's got a huge back. I can put the seats down like a Wrangler, but smaller basically. And I filled that up nearly twice just with my music gear. I had all my guitars profiled in. I had my amps in there. I had to do 2 trips. I was like, what? Like without stacking things too much on top of each other, because I don't want them just to fly out the window or whatever. I couldn't believe how much stuff I had accumulated. And I was at that last house for, I think, nearly 5 years. And yeah, I was like, what? Or 4 years. Yeah, just over 4 years. It was coming up to 5 years. So yeah, I want to get a head start on moving some things along. I'm going to, for those who don't know too, I offload a lot of the stuff that I get to keep that I don't get paid for, or if I do get paid for, whatever. If they let me keep it, I sell it cheap on my website too. So if you're interested in checking that out this year, I'll link it down below. It's not actually active right now either, because there was nothing on there. But I need to start listing all this stuff. And yeah, if you check the description after this, I'll put some sort of code down there you can use. Yeah, I just want to start moving some things along, because they've got a cupboard full of stuff. I mean, it's a good problem to have, I guess, but until you move. Mitch says, my hope is not to buy any more gear or I'll be divorced. Yeah, that's not a good situation to be in. Are the Fender Vintera 2 tallies any good? I haven't played those, actually. I don't think I've seen a Lefty from memory. Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to double check to see if I've actually. I don't think I've played one of those or reviewed it or anything. So coming up this year too, I want to have Ben contribute to the channel again, but we're both going to be in the videos this time instead of just throwing him straight in. I'm going to have a chat with him about that coming up, because he's a great player and he's just such a nice guy. So we might do some chat style videos coming up, and then some gear videos after that at some point or whatever, just to introduce him a little bit because, yeah, I kind of threw him in the deep end, and he did a great job. He's playing so good yeah, I sort of want to get him a bit more involved with, you know, helping out with stuff I can't review as a lefty. So, yeah, I think that'll be really handy, but we'll do it in a way where we're both in the video all the time instead of, you know, just having some dude you've never seen in the videos. I probably should have done that the first time, but yeah, anyway. So the long answer to that, Mike, is or short answer is I don't know. RB says, I know you got the blues thing down. Do you ever do slide for your own enjoyment? So on some of the intro tracks, I do a little bit of slide guitar, but it's mostly just rhythm stuff. I'm not great at it. I can play the chords along with the chords, but I can't. It's not that I can't. I've never really learnt how to play the lead stuff that well. I'm always missing it. And if you miss the fret, it's out, right? I know there's some ways you can kind of fake the right note, but yeah, it's really exposing. So I haven't put a lot of time into it. I've just focused more on landing on the frets and playing along with the chords. Usually if I'm playing a fourth part in a jam track, it's slide. If you listen to a few of them, you'll hear it, but or see it too, because I actually filmed that take. But yeah, it's not something that I'm great at. I love the sound of slide guitar when it's played great. My friend Brian absolutely kills it, and so does my other friend Dom. They're both amazing at it. But yeah, it's one of those things I've not put a lot of time into. Because I hear other players that are great slide players. I'm like, oh, wow, it's just like right over my head. Or right over my current skill level, which puts you off because you're like, if I tried that, it would be nasty. All right. Where were you 17 years ago? Where was I 17 years ago? Is that in relation to a job or... Hey, cool. Raphael's here, man. Hope you're doing well. Thanks for joining in. He says, first time catching up live. Hope all is well on your end and the time off was enjoyable. Man, it's so needed. You know, interestingly enough, there's so many YouTube guys that are like quitting this year. They've just had enough of the grind. And I was starting to feel that. I was like, man, you overburden yourself with too much stuff. And it used to be that like the more you put in, the more you get back in everything. Subscribers, views, all that kind of stuff. Earnings, everything. But it's not like that anymore. It's been a lot tough. It's been tough for the last year and a half doing this. Not to the point where I'm worried about it because I've set up other things outside of YouTube, but yeah, it's sort of like, sorry, I got the wrong thing here. Sorry. But yeah, basically it's one of those things where I was like, I needed the time off. It was healthy for my mind and I feel completely different about it now. So I was like, time off is good. Sometimes I'm editing until, 10 p.m., 11 p.m. or later. I know a lot of channels, they outsource a lot of this stuff, but then you've just got to, it's such an extra step to get things the way that you want them. And then you have to charge for everything you do. And I don't want to do that. I don't want to be at the mercy of doing those kind of videos all the time. Yeah, I'm lucky to do probably one sponsored video every, well, sponsored in terms of them paying me for like a pedal video. That might be once a week or once every fortnight or 2 weeks or whatever. But not all of my videos are like that. I borrow a lot of stuff that I showcase. So, yeah, it's, I don't know what the point of this was, but it was basically like, I want to keep the freedom to pick and choose a little bit more rather than just set up just a straight up review channel. I don't really want to do that. It's never, as much as I love reviewing gear, I also want to incorporate other stuff. And so that's where we're at now. I think this year I've really been able to focus on how do I want this to change so it's more enjoyable long term, because already it's been 10 years full time this April. Before that, I was still shooting videos while I was working other jobs, and I was like, all right, I'm going to start forcing myself to have time away from it. And like most jobs, you get the weekend off. Not when you do this sort of stuff sometimes. So yeah, I'm my own worst nightmare a lot of the time when it comes to content. And I don't want it to control me to the point where I quit. So yeah, that's sort of where I'm at with that. But time off was great. And it put a lot of things into perspective in terms of, yeah, what I want to do for this year. So speaking of which, I'll get back to these comments in just a sec, so bear with me, guys. All right, I'm bringing back the podcast style videos and frequently asked question videos. So like 10 years ago, I was like one of the first podcast channels, you know, like the In the Blues Tone podcast goes back a long time. I think Wampler was the first, and then this channel, and then everyone did it. But what I want to do is bring back some of those short clips where I'm talking about certain things. Like you might have seen the PV Bandit one. I want to update a lot of that stuff with the knowledge I have now and make it a bit more, you know, contemporary as opposed to a decade ago. You know, I might have less hair and all that now, but it looks all right. I just shaved it today. But yeah, I want to start bringing those kind of things back and make it a little bit more interesting for myself and sort of spread a little bit of the load out when it comes to the kind of videos I'm putting together. It's a bit of a yeah, it's one of those things I need to start thinking about a little bit more. Because, yeah, I'm a one-man show, man. I know I have other people on the channel, but I'm doing everything. So it's, yeah, it's crazy. But I love it. I love it. Otherwise, I would just stop. But I don't want it to get to that. All right. We've got Mr. Binsik? Is that how you say it? From Belgium? Welcome, mate. Sorry, I'm so bad with names. We've got Michael here as well. I'll just stick to the first names if I can. Raphael says the Kemper player. That's the one. That's the one. Hey, we got the great Vanzini here, man. I love your videos. You know, I've seen you pop up on the channel for a long time, probably over 10 years, and in the comment section and stuff. I actually saw you doing your thing. Your picture always intrigued me here. I was like, oh, this guy looks kind of eclectic. I couldn't see much on your little avatar, and then yeah, you got some nice chops, man. And I love the fact you got one of those, Game Changer Audio wah pedal, the Bigsby pedals. Those things are so good. So, yeah, good stuff. Do I find that Les Pauls are too heavy? Usually they're not something I want to play standing up for 3 sets. Yeah, if I'm sitting down and playing, it's not the end of the world. But, you know, I've played some Les Pauls that I just can't. I'd be like, there's no way I'm buying this. And then there's a few that are fine, right? So usually the less expensive Gibson guitars, if we're talking just about Gibsons, they're not as heavy as the higher end guitars, which is the reverse of Fender. So you can buy a Les Paul Special is the one that I had with the P90s, or yeah, with the P90s, the Special. That was actually really light. It was great. It was the thing I loved about it the most. In hindsight, I probably should have kept that and changed the neck pickup, but yeah, the tributes are pretty light, and the ones that have the routing under the top are also a really good option as well, because it keeps the weight down. A lot of people were like, oh, it needs to be completely solid body. It does not need to be completely solid body unless you like heavy guitars. All right, so Raphael says no screens on the Kemper player. You know what? That is totally fine with me, and that's kind of one of the things I really like about it. You can kind of, once you've got it set up with the sounds that you want, that's it. And that's what I loved about Dr. Rick lent me his Strymon Iridium pedal, which is another great option too. I mean, that's kind of the same thing. Well, it's not the same thing, but it's basically gives you a handful of sounds, no screens. You just plug into your audio interface, you get great tones. So that is a great option as well. So I could go either way with those, actually. I might, you know, think about which one to buy, because I used that at Jerry's for when I was in Florida a couple of years ago. Excuse me. I got my caffeine drink here. Just bear with me. And it was awesome. It meant I could play back music through the studio monitor that we had in the room and play to the music I was listening back through the studio monitor, because if I'm using an amp, it's just can't hear the studio monitor to get a good tone. So yeah, it's such a great tool, and I thought, man, that's something I could get into. I like its simplicity. And unlike being at the mercy of a PA system, if you play live, everything needs to change, right? You know, they sell the Kempers and all that for live players who have all the perfect gear and a great sound guy. Now, if you've got that, they're great. But if you don't, and the tweeter's not working in a room, or the woofer's gone, you get a horrible sound, right? So it's like the last thing that you'd want. What I've sort of come to the conclusion is if I can get something simple that records well into a sound card, I'm done. That'll be my travel rig anytime I need to get my guitar recorded. It would be great. So yeah, either the Strymon Iridium or the Kemper. Yeah, Michael says the LP is heavy after playing something light. Oh, 100%. Yeah, again, it just sort of depends on, you know, what it is you've picked up prior to it as well, and which model. Same here. Way too many cameras, but I need more. I don't know if you've seen my little... Oh, yeah, you did. I think I saw you comment on... I collaborated with Peter Gregg when I was in Miami, and I've watched his channel for years. He's one of the OGs in the camera space, and yeah, I've got a bad for camera equipment as well. It's shocking. It's shocking. Cameras to me right now is probably the thing I'm like obsessing over the most. How it used to be for guitar. I think because I'm around so much gear with guitar, I don't think about it quite as much as I used to, and you know that's what happens, right? Yeah, and I should put this on, but I need more. That's exactly right. Sorry, I thought it said I need more money. I was like, man, yeah, cameras are expensive as. Have I listened to Paul Kossoff? That's from Paul Cooper. No, I don't think so. I'm really bad with names, so if something kind of blew up on YouTube and it's the kind of music style that I would listen to, I may have seen it, but I don't think so, no. I'll check it out. I'll put it on screen here so people can look it up. All right, I ended up throwing a DI box on a pedal board with the new... Sorry. Oh, where'd that go? Man, the chat just went... Sorry. I ended up throwing a DI box on a pedal board with the new X Amp Academy. A DI box runs out into a handheld recorder for the raw signal. Helps with song ideas, etc. Very good travel board. Very cool, man. That's awesome. All right. John, come on, man. It looks like you're having a great time, by the way. I see your stuff on Instagram. You're always out listening to live music and stuff. That's great. Well done. Do I listen to any blues rock radio stations streaming or otherwise to find new artists to listen to? Yes. So even though I'm in Australia, I've still got Pandora, which was given to... Well, I was logged in on an account from my friend overseas, and I have to use a VPN for that, but that's really cool. I also have TuneIn Radio, which is something I don't use as much anymore. Not because I don't want to, but it's just something that I haven't really been using much lately. And I'll... Oh, what? Oh, no. I thought it was... Here we go. So there's a radio station on here I really like, and it is called Music City Roadhouse. So, Music City Roadhouse. It's really good. It's basically like southern rock, blues, country to some extent, not too much like kind of the commercial country stuff, which I don't mind a little bit of depending on where I am, but yeah, it's sort of that's kind of like what I would listen to. Otherwise, I found recommendations are pretty good usually. So if I'm listening to something like, you know, Derek Trucks, it'll recommend someone else that's quite great in that genre, even if it doesn't have a lot of views. So yeah, I spend a lot of time on YouTube listening to music. I've got a lot downloaded to my phone. I'm sort of binge listening a bit to Jack Pearson. It's just been one of my favorite. There's a great version of Can't You See with Jack Pearson and Warren Haynes, and it is so good. The title is Government Mule with Jack Pearson, Can't You See, from the Warney Festival. Man, I've pinched a fair bit of really great chord stuff out of Jack Pearson's playing. It's so good. If you don't know Jack Pearson, look up Every Day I Have the Blues. He's playing with like 3 other gun guitar players, and he holds a note on this $80 Squire for like a minute. But he's so good. He's such a great player. So, all right, 53 here. Thank you for that, Mitch. Cheers, man. I'll just go back up. I saw so that was in relation to Danny's question. Thanks, man. Thanks for the question. Yeah, check out Music City Roadhouse. Pretty good. I actually gave that recommendation to a few of my friends, and they all love it. If you've got TuneIn Radio, it's free to listen to as well. All right. Seriously, 3 guitars and amp. Oh, 3 guitars and an amp should do, and the mandatory 80 pedals. Oh, that's how it goes, man. There's so many great pedals. There really is. I mean, the funny thing, right? I was talking to a mate about this. Like, he goes, "Oh, what do you think of my tone?" You know, like well, no, I'm not going to say what it is, but he goes, like, "What do you think of the tone?" I was like, "Sounds like you playing guitar." So that's what comes out of it. If you know how to dial it in, you're going to get, you're going to get your sound, which is fantastic. Oh, Brett says he's working on the 80 pedals. Hey, we got Jamal here. Welcome, man. Hope you're doing well. Thank you for joining in. Happy New Year, man. Hope you had a good one. I think you said were going away for a little while, so hope you didn't get too cold. I heard it's brutal up there. There it is. So anytime we see Jamal or John, we've got to just we've got to spam it on screen like this. This is how the chat works. There you go. There's the John. I can't type on this, unfortunately. I don't think I can anyway. Anyway, it's all good. All right, we've got Darren from the UK. He says, have you tried the Harley Benton Tube 15 head or combo? I'm thinking of getting one. Man, I tell you what, I've reviewed a lot of Harley Benton stuff in the past, and they said, what would you like to review? And I always put those on the list, or have in maybe like the last quarter of 2023. Nothing. So I don't know if there's a shipping thing with amps. Obviously to Australia, they would cost a lot more, but no, I haven't. But I have tried their 5-watt head, which was basically just a simple tube amp. It was pretty good. It wasn't like mind-blowing or anything like that, but yeah, if you got to buy a tube amp and you want to play out or even jam or whatever like that, 15 watts is pretty cool. But unfortunately, I haven't tried them, so I would like to. I might have to hassle my contact again, see what he's doing. I was actually supposed to get a few other lefties, and they never showed, so I don't know if they were sent or they weren't or what, but yeah, I need to check into that at some point. I'm not in a rush to get inundated with stuff, but yeah, anyway. So a couple of the guitars I'll definitely be moving on. I got 2 Harley Bentons I'm selling. I'm going to sell the MR Classic, which is still in the box after my review. I've not used it once. I don't know why. It's just in a box. I don't have a case for it, and it stays in the box. And the baritone guitar, which I love playing, but I've used it like maybe twice. I think baritone guitars are great if you're just jamming on your own, but I can't incorporate them into my stuff. It just confuses me too much because the tuning's different. All of a sudden I got to think, oh, so how do I transpose this? And I'm like, this is going to take me too long. So yeah, there too, I'm definitely going to move on. But yeah, cool guitars. Just, I'm not much of a sort of surf punk kind of dude. Finn says, are the Fender Special Edition player Jazzmasters any good? The Jazzmasters are okay. They're not my favorite guitar in the world, just personally. I don't really love like the vibe of them as much as, but it's all personal kind of choice. I don't find them as comfortable. And hang on. I just looked this up. I want to make sure I'm not giving you the bad info because sometimes Fender Jazzmaster. The reason I want to look, yeah, okay, so these are okay. I don't find them as playable as Strats or Tallies, just inherently, but they're okay. I would recommend playing them just to see what you think if you have that opportunity. Yeah, I'm sort of on the fence with the Jazzmasters. It's not a guitar that, like I played one and I really liked it, but it may have been a US one. Yeah, so my experience is kind of limited with them. I don't often think, oh yeah, geez, I'm dying to play one of them. Just for what I do. I think the bends feel a bit funny on them or something. Something's different enough, like the bridge or something, where it's sort of doesn't really feel like my typical kind of Fender guitar that I would own. But not to say they're bad, just based on my hands-on experience with stuff. But if I can get my hands on them, I'll do a review. I don't think I've done one of those for a long time. Yeah, that would be my guess. Hey, all right. So, Darren, thanks for watching in the UK. That's awesome. Thanks for all the support, and yeah, hope you're doing well as I burp into the microphone. Any opinions on the $999 Gibson humbuckers? That is insane. I would never spend $1,000 on any pickups. I don't care if they came out a freaking Jimi Hendrix guitar. Well, maybe then, but yeah, that's insane. I wouldn't really have any thoughts, but I didn't even know that was a thing. So again, I've been out of the loop for about 3 weeks. So yeah, anyone charging $1,000 for pickups is dreaming. I mean, what is it, like what, $40 worth of parts all up or something? I know the time that goes into stuff like that can be time consuming, but that's insane. All right, Bill says, hey mate, after your Rude mouse review, I ordered one and discovered that it's great to use in front of the amp for high gain stuff. Happy New Year. Happy New Year, and awesome. I'm glad you're liking it. Yeah, it's a great little pedal. I think that was the Rat clone pedal, and it was freaking awesome. It's great, man. There's so many great cheap pedals out there. Eric says, welcome back, Shane. Glad to see you back. Thank you for joining in. He says, from upstate New York and the bitter cold. Yeah, I've heard it's been pretty brutal in the northern states up there, or even lower than that, right? Like, it's cold in a lot of spots right now. Just keep warm, man, and yeah, Happy New Year. Sorry if I've missed some comments here. I'm working off a screen that's like about a bit bigger than this, so it's just flying around here, and I keep going back up. But if I've missed your comment or question, just let us know. I'll try to get to everybody. I always do. I don't selectively like miss comments unless it flies through here. All right, Chris says, just bought a Fender Bassbreaker 30R. It's a great amp tone-wise. Had to send it back because it had issues. Now I'm thinking maybe a VOX AC instead. Any thoughts on those two amps? I know you checked them out prior. I think the VOX will be way more reliable, without question. I gigged the crap out of VOX amps for years. I had an AC15, C1 with the Celestion, and the C2 with 2 Celestion speakers. And those things are basically bulletproof. I'm sure some people have had a bad experience with everything, but yeah, unfortunately, the Bassbreaker series is pretty unreliable. You know, as great as they sound. Like, I think if you love the 30s tone, I would get a Marshall DSL 40. You know, with that stock speaker, you're going to get just, you know, get a bright sound. You'll have to dial the tops out a little bit, but it's probably the closest thing to the Bassbreaker. But again, super reliable. I've had mine for, I don't know how long, maybe 5 years or more now. It's bulletproof. 20 watts or 40 watts and 3 really musical channels, or 4 all up, because you kind of get the same thing twice. You get a clean, two crunch channels, and the ultra gain channel, and it's awesome. It's right there. So yeah, look, VOX amps are also a lot of fun. They're going to be a lot less drivey than the Bassbreaker. The Bassbreaker's got that great high gain channel, whereas the VOX amps, they're kind of like a classic crunch, a light classic crunch. You can kind of dial in some gain by maxing out the top boost channel, but I don't really love doing that on those amps. I still think they shine with a tube screamer, because the VOX EQ curves are really scooped in the middle, so you need a pedal that can push that back out when you play your solos. So I kind of used to set mine up with the gain at about no higher than about midday or 1 o'clock, and then I used to hit a tube screamer. That was awesome. So yeah, I can highly recommend those amps, but they have a much more scoop sound. And if you're coming from, I mean, Fender amps are a little scooped as well, but they're not as scooped as the VOX amps inherently. So my suggestion would also be to get the one with the Celestion speaker, especially coming from the Fender sound. The greenback is a better, it's like a, I don't want to say more usable sound. It just has more of an open thing going on. The blue speakers, the Alnico Blues, are heavier. The amp's more expensive. I don't think it's worth it for the trade-off in tone. I actually don't like it as much. It's like you lose headroom, sort of. Although they're a fatter speaker, yeah, those amps are heavy enough. So I would seriously have a look at the DSL 40s, the CR version, if you can find one of those. Those are great. All right, I just realized how far I am from the bottom of the chat, man. I'm so sorry, everybody. What I'm going to do, I'm going to just go to the bottom here and work my way back up a bit. Do I use any overdrive pedals with my DSL? I can use overdrives with it, but I generally don't have to, because you get 2 great classic crunch channels. You get the one you can dial up with less gain, so that great rhythm tone. Then I can switch channels, and then I've got a killer lead tone Like, it's great. And you get 2 matching channels. So you can set the second one up exactly the same, but louder with more drive, and you're laughing. It's a really simple amp. And yeah, it's one I'm going to take out more this year. I actually bought another one of those little wheelie trolley things for my amps now. So, yeah, you don't need to. The only 2 pedals I'll use, I'll use a wah with it if I'm doing a gig or a jam. And I'll sometimes have a delay pedal sitting on top of the amp in the effects loop, because you can turn the effects loop on and off, which is awesome. Man, I'm so sorry, everybody. I had no idea the chat was so far down here. Oh, so Great Van Zini says he loves his AC10, bit of a different animal. The AC10s are friggin' awesome amps. I think they're... I'm going to do a video about that coming up, because I really think they're one of the best. I've reviewed them before, and I've tested them and all that kind of stuff, but just, yeah, they're one of the best amps of its type. It's a really gnarly sound, so I can highly recommend those too, but they're probably not quite loud enough to get over a drummer that's hitting hard. But if you're not doing that, or the band's not as crazy, then you're going to be fine. It's loud, but it's not, you know, like fill a venue kind of loud. There you go. Heavy Brett says, if America is going into the Ice Age, you should all move to Australia. Guitar nerds are all welcome. There we go. Robert says it's -5 degrees Fahrenheit in Iowa. Wow. Yeah, that's brutal, man. So 0 is our freezing point. So usually the way I work out temperature differences in the positives, I don't know how it translates to negatives, but say it's 30 degrees here. If I double it, it's 60, and then if I add 30, it's 90. So that's close. They say, I think my brother said, if you add some change, like if I add like 2 or 4%, it works out. But that gets too confusing for this guy. Anyway, keep warm, keep warm. 75 in the chat. Let's get those thumbs up. Hey, thanks, man. Thank you for the support. Yeah, for those who have just joined too, I'll just mention this again. I don't want to reiterate too much stuff because it is at the start. But yeah, this year I'm mixing up how I make videos. Not necessarily the quality or anything like that. There's certain videos that will always be the same in terms of the, you know, I put a lot of work into them. I'm going to bring back the casual chat to camera things, answer some frequently asked questions, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I want to start doing more of those helpful videos again. It's just something that I kind of let go because it felt like everyone was doing it. And even though, you know, 10 or 12 years ago, I was doing those videos, I go in these phases where I just need to change certain things up. So yeah, stay tuned, guys. This year, I'm hoping there'll be some of the same sort of videos, but there's also a whole lot of different stuff. I also want to bring back the Keys to the Guitar Shop series as well, and I want to try it a couple of different ways. I had this idea last year, and we never ended up shooting one. So yeah, I think this year will hopefully be good. I'm going to sort of pick and choose a little bit more with what I showcase, and yeah, it should be a good year. So yeah, thanks again, everybody, for hanging out, or hanging in there, I should say. All right, let me go up here. All right, Mark Guitar, thanks, man. Hey, no worries. Happy 2024. Is it me, or is 2024 easier to say than 2023? I don't know, man. I was writing like 2022 for so long last year still. I missed the... Oh, I'm not sure what that was. Oh, here we go. There we go. So GRB Aquatic says, I have an Artist Guitars Grungemaster to scratch my Jazzmaster itch. Yeah, they're pretty good value. I found those pickups okay. Like, they were a little on the low output kind of side, but the guitar itself is fantastic. I actually did a festival last year, and it was last year, and one of the guitarists in the band before us, or maybe after us, I can't quite remember. It's been a while now. That was 2 years ago. He was using one at a festival gig. I was like, that's the Artist guitar. I was like, that's super cool. That's super cool. So yeah, that's awesome. All right, sorry guys. Everyone's talking about the Jazzmasters. Back up the chat here. I definitely missed a whole lot of questions and comments about that. I have a pile of DIY pedals. You know, I tried doing that for a while. There was another Australian YouTube channel that, it's funny, he helped me with some He knew I was an IT nerd. I'm an ex-Microsoft specialist. Not a programmer, but I knew like operating systems and servers and stuff to some extent. And he was helping me to no end, like working out what to get and how to hook stuff up. And then his server died on him, and I talked him through how to get it going again. So I was able to pay him back with some help. But yeah, I just thought of that when I was thinking about it, because pedal builders, man, if you've never built a pedal or you want to appreciate how much time and effort goes into them, do it. I know some things are PCB built, which I still think is fine. It's faster for the manufacturers to do it, and at no cost of necessarily like reliability if it's made well. Yeah, and DIY pedals it's fun, and it's also, what's the word? Rewarding, I guess, is the word. Like, you finish it and it works. It's like, oh, this is great. But yeah, I highly recommend people give it a shot at least once. Start with the most simple circuit you can. And if you're like me and you didn't know anything about electronics, it will teach you about electronics if you're into that sort of stuff. So yeah. Oh, here we go. I'm super excited for the coming MXR Randy Rhoads Distortion Plus. Unfortunately, won't be ready for NAMM. Oh, yeah, okay, cool. Speaking of which, when does the NAMM thing's next weekend, right? It's next week. It's not a weekend, so it's like 24th and 5th or something like that normally. I keep getting people asking, are you going to go to NAMM this year? I'm like, dude, that's like a $3,000 round trip for no payoff. I want to go actually at one point in time, and I'm going to try and work something out so maybe it can be partially sponsored and I can feature certain things on the channel or something. But yeah, I don't really want to pay to go, but I'll check out a few of the videos that go up. If Tone King goes, I don't know if he's going this year. I hope he is, because I used to really enjoy his chats with people. They were by far the best. He's like the least pretentious YouTuber at those events. No, there's some great ones too. There is others, but his interviews are awesome. Like, he's one of my favorites still. He's one of the OGs. So if Tone King goes, I'll binge watch a whole bunch of his videos. But yeah, I don't know what to expect this year from I'm not really behind the scenes so much. I borrow a lot of what I showcase, but I don't know what to anticipate will be the big thing this year. So let us know in the comments if you have any ideas of what you think might be coming out, or whatever the case may be. Will Fender release the new paint job on all of their new guitars this year or not? I guess that's what we'll find out. All right, we've got an Artist Gold Top and a Cherry Red 335, and I love them. That's from Paul. Awesome stuff, man. Very cool. A good friend of mine who I play with most weekends, he bought the Gold Top, and he's been playing it a lot, and he loves it. So, very cool. Here we go. Brett's trying to call out Jamal here. How many pedals are you packing, man? That's awesome. Yeah, I miss doing these live streams. You know, since my last place, which was a nightmare to set up, I used to have to run this like 40-meter Ethernet cable from the modem, which was on one side of the house, all the way down the house into my studio room. It was awful. This makes it so much easier. I got Ethernet ports coming out of my wall here, and this is why this streaming thing's over Wi-Fi. So it's made this process a lot less stressful, and I can get good quality out of this now. So this is another thing I'm bringing back a bit more. It won't be the same time and same date every day of the week for 100 years. It'll be, you know, I'm hoping every other week, something like that, or every 10 days or something like that for a while. Because, yeah, it's good interacting with people. It's good chatting with people. It keeps the community of the channel, which is sort of, I think, not been the same since I let this sort of stuff go. Yeah, live premieres are okay, but they're not this, where you can directly answer people. And yeah, it's something I appreciate when I watch other channels. They might be doing a live Q&A on cameras or whatever the case may be, and I can sit there and just listen to it later, or, you know, ask a question, whatever the case may be. So it's super cool. Ofar says, sorry about the pronunciation, any ideas if Jerry's Lefty guitars are still active? Yes, he's moved. So he was in Sarasota, Florida, and he moved to Tennessee. He's in the process of building a new house. So for those who don't know, if you have missed my interview with him, he used to be a builder, like a really successful one, until I think he lopped off his finger. So he started playing guitar left-handed. And and he sent me a photo of his property, and it looks amazing. I can't share it. I don't have the ability to do that right now, but it's a big job, and it was snowing. So, yeah, hang in there. I think he thought it was going to take a year. I think it'll take a bit longer before he's up and running, just based on what I saw. It looks relatively unfinished. Not to the, like, there's structures there now, but yeah, it's a big job. So, you know, maybe by mid-year he might have it going, which it would be great. But yeah, I actually emailed him at the end of last year just to see how he was going with that. A few people have asked me about that actually, so it's good that we threw it in. 40 meters, how big is your house? Oh, the old place. No, so the cable lengths, right? Like, you got to think about it not in terms of straight lines. So it would go around the wall, down, across, out of the way of the passageway. So you don't want to trip over cables, right? So you're going to run them along the walls. Then you run it around amps, like around the back to your computer. So that takes up more space more length than just a straight cable, if that makes sense. It's not like I just want it at full tension straight down the middle of the house. It has to be on the floor and loose because you don't want to bust ports or... Yeah, so my house wasn't that big. Yeah, you got to look at it like lengths of walls, basically. All right. Miller Andrew says, got my 50th birthday guitar. Wife says not to play it until my actual birthday in September? Oh, that's crazy. By then you'll need another guitar. Oh man, that's super cool. Let us know what you got as well, man. If you want to share that, that's super cool. Well, happy birthday for September. September, man, I can't believe it. That's brutal. That's way too long to wait to play a guitar. You're allowed to like open it up and have a sniff in the bag there or the case, because new guitar smells awesome. All right. Smiling for 20 says, I recently bought a Randy Rhoads polka dot flying V Chibson. It's okay, but I'm using it for wall art. Yeah, someone else wrote that's all they're good for, wall, Chibsons. I made the same mistake of buying a 335 from some crappy website in China. It got here. It was cheap. It was dirt cheap, so I shouldn't complain too much, right? I got it here. I opened the case. It stunk. Like, they didn't even let the varnish completely cure. It was dry, but it stunk. Like, it was I couldn't even keep it in the house. Anyway, so I left it out, and it kind of got a little bit better. But I think the first chord or the second chord I played on it, it just fizzed out, and I had no sound. I was like, oh, great. So I took it up to the shop where the owner's, I think he's got some sort of Tourette's or something. Anyway, I said to him, mate, can you fix this? And he looked at it, he went, nah, not fixing that. Throw it on the fireplace or something. I was like, all right, cool. So I don't even remember what I did with that. I may have just got rid of it on Gumtree or something. This is a long time ago. But yeah, that was one of the biggest mistakes I made buying a guitar was a Chibson. I think they've come a long way since, what year would have that been? Man. You know what? I don't even think I was if I was posting videos when no, I have to have been. It's been a long time. I'm trying to think what house I was at. I can't really remember, but it's, yeah, don't save your money. Buy something else. Oh, well, there you go. The guitar is beautiful, and looking at it makes me happy. No complaints here. Well, that's good. Visually, if it looks good and you're happy with it, that's awesome. You know, I used to sell left-handed guitars to this lefty who didn't play, right? He used to just put them on the wall. You know, that was his thing. I don't know if it was like he owned a cafe or a house or what, but he used to love doing that. All right. Hey, Shane, the old Google Hangouts video was my suggested video list the other day. I also watched it. Landon was there. Nick in the States. Oh, very cool, man. Yeah, man, that was super cool. Yeah, all that sort of stuff was great. You know, and this thing here allows me to invite people on, but for me to hear everybody, I need to work out how to do that. It has a headphone jack. I just wonder if it's going to work. Yeah, I haven't seen a few of those guys for a long time. But yeah, that would be a thing that we can do. I can send an invite link out maybe once a month or something. Have a few people join in. It wouldn't be like an open thing. I think it'd be too hard managing the chat and doing all this stuff here. So, but yeah, that'd be a great thing to do again. I kind of miss doing that as well. There was a time, one of the reasons I stopped doing it, as you probably are well aware, they were easily exploited. There was like all kinds of crazy stuff happening on the, you know, people would, yeah, anyway. They were just, I think that's why YouTube got rid of it. It was like, easy, they were getting hacked, basically, in real time. So, have you kept in touch with Steve from New Jersey? No, I haven't seen him comment for years and years and years. I have a feeling, like, sometimes when, I don't know if this was it or not, like, I almost felt like the channel might have sort of outgrew an audience. And it's nothing you do on purpose or anything, but I think sometimes people prefer smaller channels. And I understand that. I don't watch just big channels for stuff. I watch a lot of small channels, especially in tech. I like other people's opinions on stuff. And I think, I could be wrong, but I feel like maybe, you know, people drop off for that. Or if they're maybe not as involved in the live streams. But yeah, the last thing you want is decapitations on on a live stream. So yeah, it's like I had to stop that. I've still got everyone's email address. I kept that list. I haven't emailed anyone on it, but I do have it in my notes. So you know, if we do another one, maybe we'll try and invite some people back in. So yeah, we're just going to pick a time that works too. You know, it'd be great to catch up with everybody. I turn 49 next week. Any free pedals? Welcome, guys. Well, there we go. And you got 2 bike pedals coming your way, mate. That's how we do it. All right, Epiphone IBG 335 is a great guitar. So no need for those Gibsons. IBG. Oh, maybe that's supposed to be ES335. Yeah, they're fantastic guitars. You know, the Epiphones are... that was my main gigging guitar. I've said this a million times. That was my main gigging guitar for years. For good reason. It's freaking awesome. Hey, Tim's here. Welcome, man. Hope you're doing well. Hey, Shane. Good to see you, mate. Wondering how you're getting on with those hands on... Oh, sorry. Let's try this. Wondering how you get your hands on those vintage lefties. All right, so... I don't know. Which ones in particular? So sometimes I go over to Jerry's Lefty Guitars which was in Sarasota, Florida. So a lot of my reviews of, like, you know, lefties you can't find anywhere else are shot there. I'm just trying to think of which vintage lefties I've tested. I can't think of too many. I know I've tested some old Gibson ones. I don't think I've really... I tested an old 70... Oh, it's not that old, but a 70s, early 70s Strat. And that's about it. Unless I forget. I've got I hit 3,000 uploads recently, right? 3,000 uploads. So I can't remember all of them, but yeah, fill us in on some info, mate. Hope you're doing well. Happy New Year, by the way. Here we go. So Smiling420 says, I have 12 guitars that I actually play. Well, you know what? I want to see you play all 12 of those at once. You can post that video. No. That's a healthy number. It's not unhealthy. I think 12 guitars is pretty much where I'm sitting right now. I want to get it down to 5, maybe 6. That's the goal for this year. So anyone looking for lefties? No. I'm just done with having lots of stuff. Anyway. I watched one was the last... I think we were just talking about the Hangouts finishing up at that time. Yeah, so Google actually removed the service from YouTube, which is crazy because you can still use it in Gmail, I think, but it doesn't plug into YouTube anymore. That was a huge mistake. You know, I felt like that. I always thought they were going to upgrade that service and make it built into the browsers in a way that wasn't easily exploited, but they never did. So now I have to load up a live stream with this and then send a link out. You know, maybe we should test that out. Maybe we should... Oh, you gotta be joking. Send a link to me. All right. Who wants to be the guinea pig for this? Should we test it out? Or should we do it next time? All right. Yeah, let us know which guitar you play the most as well. That's cool. Peter says, hey Shane, I'm new. Thanks for the review videos and everything I've been watching for the last month or so. back playing again and buying too much stuff. Grabbed an Ultra Strat with a Princeton Chorus upgrade. Wow, that's super cool, man. Congrats, that's fantastic. Yeah, those Ultras are pretty cool, man. If you, like, I played one I loved, and I was like, man, I'm so close to buying this, and then, yeah, I felt a bit bad, because I got a Strat I love as well, and it's good when you find something that you're digging. That's super cool. I like playing the guitar. I don't like having too many of the same thing anymore. I think that's what it is for me. So one Strat's, I think, enough for right now, at least, anyway, and, yeah, it's great being able to plug it into an amp like that, man. That's fantastic. Nice. So, yeah, congrats, and thanks for the comments. Oh, yeah, ES335. Cool. Do I remember Washburn guitars? Yes. Yeah, I still see them around from time to time. I usually in the used guitar shops, or the, you see them in the cash converters or something like that, like a second-hand place. All right, Jamal has headphones. That's very cool. All right, maybe we'll test this out. Are you free at the moment, Jamal, or are you at work? Because I don't want to bug you if you're doing that. Oh, man. All right, I'll just take this, and then Floodland 999. Thank you, mate. Any tips on doing vibrato at the top of a bend? Been playing forever, but I suck at it. All right, so the first thing that usually goes bad for me when I haven't played is my bends, but I've been playing the last 2 days, and I got it back, and I'll show you. Let me just plug this guy in. This is my little practice amp back here that I rock out to backing tracks on YouTube with. Now, hopefully you can hear that. Can you hear this? So I think a lot of people, at least at jams, I see them make the mistake of like, they go like this. They just try to vibrato as soon as they do the bend. There's a trick, right? You want to pitch properly to start with. So say, so you pitch the bend, hear that it's there, and then vibrato. And also you can vibrato on time with the music. You don't just have to do what a lot of players will do, is just like that. That is awful to listen to. So, Clapton's the king of that stuff. One of the guys that I have pinched a lot of vibrato and phrasing from. Like, see what I did there? Like, it's so you're bending first, hitting pitch, and then if you're unfamiliar with what the pitch is, it sounds like you know your stuff, but I'll just show everyone else too. So if you're not sure where your bends are going, you're doing it wrong. So if I'm bending here, I'm hitting this note. I think I'm out of tune, but yeah. And lastly, I also recommend supporting the bend with, like, I actually, when I'm doing that, I got 3 fingers going on, right? If you're using one, it's not going to be enough. You need at least 2 fingers. I would say 3 fingers for a lot of bends. Unless you're doing the bends on these higher strings where you can get away with 2. But yeah. So that was right out. So if you're just bending willy-nilly and then doing the vibrato, it's going to sound pretty bad. But yeah, always think about where you're bending to. Like, that's it. And yeah, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it, man. Hope that helps. One of the things I'm going to do before March is put together like a 30 lick library video. So stay tuned for that. I've just recorded all the licks and ideas into just a quick thing on my computer, just the stuff I want to play. And yeah, that'll hopefully be ready by March. I'm just trying to work all of that out. But yeah, bending is Bending and vibrato, the two most important things in blues that everybody plays rushed. So yeah, just hit the note first and you're good to go. All right. Oh, cool. John's here as well. That's awesome. Let's see if I can. I did get a email somewhere. Where is it? Where is it? All right. How do I do this? I have to. You know what sucks? I sent myself an invite thinking I could send you an invite from this email, and it's not going to work. I have to type in your email address into this thing to send you an email. Let's just see if it works. Let's just see if it works. I'll forward it to you. I got like 500 Johns in here. It's a different account. No, this is going to make for some great, great live streaming here while I'm trying to find. Oh man, what's the start of your, without spelling out your whole name, man? What's the start of your email address? Just the first part of it. I'm on an account on my, well, I'm using my phone to try to forward it, but I can't. Anyway, I'll see if it pops up in the chat. Otherwise, we'll do it next time because I think I'm gonna have to find some headphones and run around as well. And we're starting to get into the 1.5 hour mark. So, yeah. Look, maybe we can try it after this. Might be the way to go. Anyway, no stress. We'll try it on Patreon first, and then we'll try it live next time. Wait, is that one of the new JTM 20s in the back? How do you like it versus your DSL? So it's an interesting amp. If you can play loud, it's great. That is that amp back there, by the way. Marshall sent that out for the review that I did of it, or the demonstration or whatever. Yeah. So the DSL actually is more flexible in terms of its tones. Like you can plug in, you've got all these different channels available to you. Whereas the JTM, it basically gives you can get a lot of sounds out of it. And I think the Strat tone with that amp is phenomenal. But you don't have reverb, you don't have the same sort of intuitive, you can get those ultra gain channels if you want that. They're aimed at a very different player. So if you like the old school kind of like Bluesbreaker tones and nothing too high gain, the JTM is phenomenal. I haven't played the combo, and I haven't tried the single 1x12. I was shocked they sent a 2x12 box out. I was like, wow, that was just, it's crazy. So yeah, it's a great amp. It's not something that in its current state, I would take out and play live a lot because it's just that the cab's a little big. I would actually almost like to buy a single 12-inch speaker cab and just have that as well. But it's a great sounding head. I mean, the head's the way to go. If you've already got a cab from something else, you can just get the head. But yeah, the high treble channel with a Strat is friggin' awesome. Like, it is so good. But it's a very different sound to the DSL. It's like the modern, the DSL has a modern sound, but it's also just a great tone. You get the great clean channel, maybe the most underrated clean channel of all the combos, I reckon. And the crunch channel is just unbelievable. So it's hard for me to say, just get the more expensive one. It's better. It really isn't. It's just different. So it just depends on your musical taste and what you're looking for. Yeah, okay, cool. Thank you, John. No, it's not coming up on my phone, mate. This is what sucks. If I'm on my computer, it works. Next time I have my laptop, we'll get it sorted out. Sorry, mate. Sorry to waste your time with that. All right, cool. I agree. That was great advice for the bends. Awesome. I'm glad it helped. That's cool. Yeah, bending is one of those things. If you don't get it right, it can go bad pretty quick. And vibrato, everybody plays like they got. It's just one of those things you see in the blues jams a lot. People play vibrato like they're having a seizure or something. It's like, which blues player does that? Like Gary Moore had pretty crazy vibrato, but it was great. But yeah, I don't know if they're trying to sound like BB King and it goes bad. It's just, it's one of those things. Do you still have a place in your heart for the Fender Mustang 3 version 2? Man, those amps are so great. Absolutely. I think they're the best modeling amplifier Fender have ever made. Without question, I think they killed them off because they were so good. It's like these are eaten into our expensive amplifiers. Which is a shame because the later versions, they're arguably, well, they're not arguably, they're just not as good tone-wise. They've got more stuff and more features with the phone connectivity and all that, but man, the original Mustang version 3s are unreal. They're so good. I've had a chance to play one a couple of times over the last few years too. A good friend of mine had one up until recently, until he kind of wrecked his shoulder, so he sold a big part of his guitar stuff. And yeah, they're just so good. Like, they're absolutely great. And I was shocked when I first heard those things I went to a product night once. Fender had a product night and all my friends had invites, so we went. And I heard them. I was like, oh, these are crap. Why would Fender bring an amp out like this? And it was just the way they had them dialed in. They were using presets, and I was like, yeah, like the great players, by the way. They were fantastic players. Greg Koch and another Aussie guy who was amazing. And but the front of house sound was awful. I was like, these amps are awful. And then I played one. I was like, holy crap, these are unreal. So I absolutely have a spot in my heart for those. Yeah, at some point in time, who knows? Another one may show up at some point, but yeah. I like to make faces like Joe Walsh while bending. Man, he's a character, that dude. He's an absolute character. The funny thing with, I'm watching a bit of Knopfler again, and he's almost expressionless sometimes. I'm thinking, dude, you're playing the best stuff I've ever heard. How are you not pulling faces? Stevie Ray Vaughan had a really wide, aggressive vibrato. Yeah, I mean, he was basically playing like Albert King stuff, right? Yeah, his vibrato was pretty huge, but it was also like, he'd pitch it properly, and it would be in context. I think a lot of people lose the context of the song when they're doing vibrato and bends. It's like they're just doing it because it's a thing that gets done. They're not thinking, oh, what's the tempo of the song? Do I need to play it the same every time? There's all these little factors that go in nice vibrato. It's not just one thing. I think that's one of the things that some people at least get confused. And, more inexperienced players don't hear it. They just know vibrato's a blues thing. Let's play some vibrato. And it's like, all the time. It's like, no, that's not going to work on every song. So yeah, just experiment around. Try it soft. Try it, with a medium intensity, and then let it rip and see which one sounds best when you listen back to it, if you record it or whatever. Doug says, thanks, Shane. I bought a DSL 20CR after watching your review a little while back. Cool. Switched out the 7080 speaker for a greenback, and it's awesome. Hard to see why I need to spend more. Those amps are unreal, man. The clean channel's great. The drive channel's awesome. If you're into the higher gain tones, you can get it out of that thing. Yeah, one of the keys to the Guitar Shop episodes, I used it after using this orange amp, and it was awesome, man. The DSL 20s, that's all you need. And you can switch them down to 10 watts, so it's got that going for it as well. Oh, thanks, John. Cheers, I just saw your message, man. Does string gauge have a big impact on tone? No. I think what it does do is make the feel of the guitar different. So I've been on guitars that are strung up with what feels like 9s or 8s, and it's awful. I can barely play. It's like spaghetti. So, 10s or 11s is pretty much what I'll want to play on the, on the gauge ratio. I used to play heavier strings than that. I used to play 12s. Unnecessary. One of my friends once said to me, oh, just put 10s on a Telecaster. That's all you'll need. And I was playing 11s on every guitar. So I went to 10s. I was like, oh, this is pretty much, it feels good. It's not, it actually improved my playing slightly. I know it sounds ridiculous, but it's a little easier. It's a little easier to do certain things. So I ended up moving to 10s on all of my guitars. I think there's enough YouTube videos out there now showcasing the tone difference. I think, was it Rick Beato did that? He did a tone string thing where it would, you start with 9s or 8s and go all the way up to whatever. I haven't seen it for years, but yeah, I wouldn't get too concerned with the tone of thicker gauge strings or anything like that. Tuning down obviously makes a huge difference, but yeah, whether I'm playing 9s or 10s or 11s, you pretty much, I don't know, it doesn't sound like it makes much difference to my ear. Oh, if you want to see some great aggressive blues playing, check out Philip. Yeah, he's great, man. The dude can play. I watched a lot of the live clips. Yeah, 100%. Oh, wow, this is something I never got a chance to try, unfortunately. So, Great Vanzini says, I have the old Mustang floor pedal, great fun, mostly on the clean side. Yeah, those things are cool. I always wanted to try one of those, and I don't know why they got discontinued. I have no idea. They just sort of stopped. So, yeah, you know what? I'm going to keep an eye out for one of those. Let me write that down. Mustang floor. I'm going to see if I can hunt one down on the used market here. So we'll see what I can do. Yeah, very cool. I totally agree regarding the Mustang amps. You pick them up really mostly on the clean. Oh, sorry, hang on. You can pick them up on the cheap side now too. Sorry, it skipped to the next comment. I'm reading half of one and the last half of another. All right, guys. Well, we might wrap this up. What I'll probably do is timestamp this after this, and then I got to use the facilities here. Energy drinks and live streaming. It's a deadly combination for the bladder. So I'm gonna get out of here. But thank you again, everybody. Thanks for hanging out with me. I got a video this weekend, and then I've got one next weekend, and I'm gonna start shooting a couple of, frequently asked question videos this week, all being well. So there'll be some different content going up. Whether or not it does well or not, we'll find out. And you know what? I don't even care. The channel, what I learned by having a couple of weeks off, my channel didn't dip in views, hardly at all. I think it was like 5%, which I'm shocked. So yeah, thank you everybody for all the support. It means my catalog is just big enough now where I can, start to try different things and it won't impact me too much. So yeah, I hope you enjoy what I got coming up. And lastly, there's also a Guitar Search Saturday video shot and on the hard drive over here. So that'll be going up probably the first weekend or so, or the second weekend of February, depending on how much stuff I get finished before that. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for hanging out, and great to see everybody. And if I can get this Hangout thing working on this little YOLO box thing, we'll do it. It might mean a little preparation. But if you want to be on the live streams, email me intheblues@outlook.com and just put your name in there, or just type live stream or something in the comments if you want to ask me a question. That's really the only way I think I can put a list together for that. Or I might be able to just put a link in the chat at some point. I don't really know. I'll work it out. But anyway, guys, thank you. And John says, hit the thumbs up, like button before you leave. Thank you. It always helps. If you like my videos and you don't comment, leave a thumbs up. It makes a huge difference. So that's why people ask you all the time. It helps videos get found and shared. And, comments help even more. But, yeah, I know there's no downvote button anymore, but you can actually bring that back. There's a plugin for Chrome and all the other browsers called, what's it called? Return dislike button or something? Or yeah, it's pretty handy. So, yeah, anyway, I'll shut up now. Take care, everybody. Thank you for hanging out. Happy New Year. And I will catch you very soon. So, thanks. And that's from Chris. All right, now I'm going to find out how I need to stop this. So it may just take me a second here. All right. All right, there we go. All the best for 2024. Awesome stuff. Thank you, Dale. Good to see you, man. Thank you, everybody, for joining in. Thanks for the super chats. Or the super chat, I should say. Singular. I think there was just the one. So, yeah, I appreciate that. And that was from Floodland 99999. Rock on, guys. Take care, and I will catch you soon. See ya.